So, welcome everybody to this year's BDME 2025. Today we're going to talk about the artist roadmap, growth, identity and longevity in music with our guests Jan Hollstein from Lovedbyall.
Jan Hollstein.
Jan Hollstein. Martin Duncan from Hot Meal Records and MIJA. So to get things started, we'll start with Martin to ask him some things. Starting with building up a live presence and the things around that. What are the key types of shows an artist should prioritize early in their career to build credibility and demand?
And maybe before we dive into it, maybe we do a little introduction of us.
Sure.
So you get a bit of a picture of who we are and what we do to get a bit of a frame of it, I think. Yeah.
Of course. If you want to start.
So my name is Jan Hollstein. I work in the industry for about 11 years, from event productions in the first part of my career, international brands from Height, which we did on Ibiza for 3 years, in the States, in Asia, to also working in agencies in various positions from label management, booking agent, to then last part of my career, artist management, and that time as well, building and working with various brands from Polyamour, Home Again, working with various artists from small scale to big scale, mostly making my hobby as a profession, and very happy about it all over. And yeah, helping, and this is my biggest dream, and I always followed supporting people I inspired by to make the dream come true in the end.
Nice. Hi, I'm Martin. I'm one of the co-founders of Hot Meal Records. We're an agency, record label, and event series. We started off as me and Bad Boombox. We were very unhappy with the way that agencies were handling artists and also how record labels were releasing music. So we kind of set out about 2 years ago to change that and kind of give a home for this new wave of kind of trancey music, popping up out of Germany. So that's where we started off.
My name is MIJA. I am an artist from America who has been touring for about 11 years now. I'm also an independent artist, and I have a record label called Never Be Alone.
Great. So maybe then we'll just start with MIJA directly. So asking you, how should an artist explore different subgenres within the electronic music while staying authentic? What would you say? What is the keys to start things off?
Well, I don't think that there's anything inauthentic about switching genres or trying new things or exploring new sounds. I think that it's a very natural progression for most artists. I think the goal in doing that would be to find yourself. So if you're able to ebb and flow between different genres in order to find your sound, you can know what you like and what you don't like. And instead of like chasing trends around, you actually figure out who you are and then wait for those trend cycles to kind of come back full circle. So I think as long as you're not just, changing genres in attempts to follow a trend or like get a bag out of it, I don't think there's anything inauthentic about it. I think you should be free to explore a bunch of different styles throughout your life and career.
What did it take you to find your signature sound, and what was the process on finding it?
It took me about 10 years, probably. I've notoriously switched up my genre many times in my career. I started as a DJ before I was a producer even, and so my taste was already very eclectic. Initially starting in like disco, house, and dance world, moving to LA, getting into trap and bass music and all sorts of things like that. But coming full circle, I think that it's really, just about like finding your specific sound, and finding out like what different elements of different genres can be applicable to you.
What would you other guys say? If you're looking for an artist, what would you say? How do you find the sound from the artist, and what are you guys really looking for?
I mean, I think you're right. Not chasing trends is it's a good idea, but also looking at being authentic to yourself, looking at what you can bring to the scene. So finding like an influence that is unique to you. So if you're like, I don't know, grew up, I don't know, somewhere where, South America for instance, and you could bring some sort of like kind of Latin influence to what's happening in the scene right now, something that only you uniquely like taught. So if you're just looking at what's popping off and you're just trying to recreate it, it doesn't work. But if you're like, okay, what is something that only I can add to this, and then add that to the scene, I think that is like a big thing that stands out from the crowd, from just like a lot of people recreating the same thing over and over again and trying to make something pop in the way that they saw another track did online.
Piggybacking off of that as well, like it's really how it's like your approach to making music. It could be your voice that you use, it could be the instruments or the plugins that you specifically use, or the samples that you're sourcing and digging that nobody else has. Like that's kind of what gives you your style, and then at that point it doesn't really matter what niche subgenre happens to be around right now. Like you can still take your voice or your style and plug it into that.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. It needs to be your voice. You can't just look at what's popular and just go, hey, let's try remake this, because you just end up with just the scene sampling itself and just remaking the same music over and over again from what they're seeing. The scene needs to move forwards constantly, and the artists that are popping off are the ones that are bringing something new. It does feel like it's in the same genre, but it's moving forwards. Things are being added to it. Influences from their personal life or their musical career are being brought into the scene and moving it forwards.
Yeah, to put it all together, like originality is like really the key to finding your true artist identity, where you go for. I mean, in the end, following a trend is just copying, and if you copy, then it won't last as long as if you express who you are and what you bring to the table, because what you bring to the table is unique to what other people don't have, because it's only coming from you. So that's why, yeah, it's mostly, this is the core of it, I think.
What would you guys say is the balance between the artistic evolution and maintaining a recognizable sound? Like, how would you guys see that going with the trends but still sticking to yourself? What would you guys say?
Pretty similar to what we were just speaking about, like injecting your own voice or your own sounds or your own personal style into whatever it is. I also think that if you're chasing a trend, you're never going to be ahead of it, and that's kind of a major thing, versus like if you just like find things that you like and you keep that on the back burner and use it as a tool for whatever the next evolution of your style is or whatever you want to do next, then you're kind of able to put all those pieces together.
I think there was a famous quote by some rock band at some point, and they were saying that they were asked why their new album doesn't sound like their older albums. And they said, well, if you want to listen to our old album, listen to our old album, don't listen to the new one. So, you know, I think every artist needs to move forwards. You can't keep recreating the old thing. It does become old. So, you know, looking for new influences, looking for new sounds, trying new things out, it's important. You can't just keep rehashing the same thing over and over again, even if it did work previously.
I think in the end, evolvement and moving forward, progress is always good, you know, challenging yourself, don't be stuck, because in the end, this industry as well, you need to see it from the perspective of your target group. It's just 5 years old. After 5 years, you got a new generation who comes into that bubble. And if you stick to like one thing which just works right now, you will be standing still and other people will overpass you. The new generation is coming, and I don't want to be so destroying dreams now, but you need to be on your tiptoes all the time. And you need to also let the development happen. It's very natural, and it happens to every person in this world, in every bubble you are. Evolvement and moving forward is progress, and progress is good.
I think there was someone that said something like, if you don't look back at yourself 5 years ago and say, that was cringe, then you're doing something wrong. You should always feel like, damn, that's like, you know, you ever scroll back on Instagram and you go, wow, all right. It needs to be, and obviously not to that extreme, but like, you got to feel like, all right, I'm a new person. I'm bettering myself each day.
That's really good news for me. I think I resonate with that.
So saying this, how would you guys say that? What can you do to keep up with your old fans? Maybe that you already have, that maybe that they don't already always go along with your sound. What would you guys say? how can you keep your fan base that you already built to stay ahead with your trends and the trends that you are creating?
I think your old fans, if starting from also what Amber said, if you start with communicating your profile and who you are as an artist, and you bring your true self out, then the fans are there because of you. And if you develop in your sound, it is a reason because of who you are and what your values are. So your fans will stick with you in your development of sound because they grow also older. You know, they have also a change of taste. And the ones who then stick with you are actually, this is called a super fan. And a super fan are the ones which are the biggest value in your target group. So I believe that fans will stay. You've got, I mean, there's a couple of examples, sorry to go a bit further with this. Gordo, for example, it's coming from trap, EDM, goes now into tech house and expanded his fan group even bigger, although he developed over time. Same as with David Löhlein, came from a different sound before, a bit more techno-ish, now he goes more into this bouncy Latin kind of sound, and it works. It works if it's true, authentic.
Yeah, no, you said that really, really well. That's exactly what I would have said. I think that like we're all here because the music is the most important part to us, but I think to the fans, like you're the most important part. Like it's your music, it's your personality, it's so many things that they're attracted to and why they like you as an artist and as a human. And I think as long as you can be communicative and engaging with your audience, that's the most important part. Just, you know, show them what you're doing, tell them a story, whether that's in your show or on your social media or in a Telegram chat. Like just, you know, don't just do things and then expect everybody to understand it, but do it in a way that's intentional, that's authentic, and yeah.
Yeah, I think it really goes back to like what is the thing that you're bringing to your own music. Like if you, a hallmark of a great artist is someone that you can listen to any of their tracks blind and go, that is, I don't know, X artist, that's X artist. Just from kind of like hallmark things, whether it's the bass drum, whether it's the kick drum, the way that they make stuff. But throughout the years, you can still just tell, like a great example is actually Skrillex. Like you can see his old drum, like his old dubstep stuff, but his new stuff now, you can still hear that it's the same producer behind it, even though it's like a completely different genre almost. So going back to what you're bringing to your music, that you're not chasing trends, you're not resampling the same scene, you're bringing something new into it. Maybe you grew up with, I don't know, a lot of reggaeton, your family played a lot of that. Maybe you're really well versed in that. How can you sample that into your own music and make sure that people can hear that it's your hands that have made it?
Saying that, what would you guys say are the key shows that you guys should start with? So, like, if you're beginning to be an artist, what should you be focusing on firstly? Like, and how can you get into those things? For example, like, how did you start? What was the first gigs that you looked into, and how did you get them, for example?
I was a promoter before I was a DJ, so the second that I lost all my money promoting, I was like, switch up, I'm a DJ now. So I already kind of knew a lot of the local promoters in Phoenix and was able to hop on like some desert parties or get some opening sets. From there, I started DJing at the Sheraton twice a week and, you know, kind of got my chops there and was able to really learn how to play like a very large, eclectic amount of different types of music.
Yeah, I think the main thing you got to think about is like when you start, hypothetically you play a gig that has 500 people, right? Like you're just like, you could somehow got yourself an opening slot at a gig with 500 people. You got to think about who are the people that are coming to the gig. So hypothetically, you might bring 20 people with you that like are fans of you that already know who you are, and then the headliner sells the rest of the tickets. You got to make sure that the people the headliner is bringing are going to be a fan of you as well. So there's no point of being a trance artist and then the headliner being a hard techno person, because what you want is the people in the crowd that don't know who you are, that you can convert them to being your fans, that they're interested in who you are as a musician, the music that you're playing, that they're not confused while you're there, that you give yourself the best opportunity to be in front of the people that are most likely to become like fans of yourself. So that means putting yourself in the right lineups with the right people, even if that means starting super small. If you get offered as a trance artist a 6,000 person show with a huge hard techno lineup, I think you're going to convert less people than if you played in front of 500 people with the correct genre.
That's very much right, and I think this is also very a core of why an agent like Martin knows where to put an artist, because in the end it's the whole picture of the program where you play is very important. Not only because of the people you can convert to, but also as a small artist, what I tell the artists I work with, it's good to have a community, a crew where you can be connected to, in the sense of those gigs, towards your question, I think are the most valuable ones, are the crews you play for. If you can get not a kind of a residency, but being a part of this crew, you have already a base. And a base where you can start building your profile. You got related to the brand or the crew, which brings you an extra depth into your profile, which you have. But also you have people, like-minded folks, you can ask questions, get support of, but also support each other. Which is very valuable, I think. So I believe it's a combination of like converting fans, but also finding in the beginning your posse, basically.
Saying that, do you have any advice on new beginners and or even like advanced DJs and producers on how to find their crew, like, or maybe how to pinpoint which really are their crew or which crew they should be like focusing on?
I think every artist who spends a lot of time in this electronic music world knows the crews. And every one of us spend a lot of time in this electronic bubble, and we know the names of those crews which are inspiring, which have great artists, which maybe do something different, maybe have the same approach as you to it. I think you cannot say this is the right fit based on like what you see, you have to feel it. Which is a bit of an esoteric approach to it, but you have to feel it if this crew represents who you are and what sound you want to go for.
But also, I think that, I mean, it's a very good point. Finding a community, finding where you fit in, how you can, but the main thing is adding to the scene. As an artist, you don't want to subtract, you don't want to be just like pulling from the scene, pulling resources. You want to be thinking, how can I add something to this? Is it music? Is it, hey, I'm going to start from grassroots and just make my own crew and pull together a bunch of people in my local community who are also doing similar music, and we're just going to do a Thursday night gig at like a local small club. Like, you want to think about adding. The worst thing I think you can do as an artist is like spend your time trying to get into something, like trying to like get a manager or get an agent or get this, get that. Like, what you should do as an artist is focus on what makes you interesting. What is it? You know, you're a great selector. Is it you're great productions? Like just spending all your time in productions. Because at the end of the day, if you have a great CV of music, people will find you. You'll end up in the right place. The right people will pick you up. You'll get contacted by the right people. But if you spend your time just trying to dig for this, it almost never ends well.
Yeah, and there's also something to say about not trying to live in somebody else's world that already exists, or not trying to fit into somebody else's world, but building your own world from the ground up. Or, you know, for me, like I found Hot Meal because Bad Boombox was playing a lot of my records last year, and that was like really organic. And then I met them, and I was like, okay, these are very like-minded people to me, like, and people that I want to be around with more. But even then, it's like I could fit in so many different worlds. Like I could be in that world. I have my own record label as well. It's like you want to have a little piece of yourself that you're watering, like a little flower that you're watering for yourself, as well as like interact with your peers, so that way you can grow on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, as someone that like, you know, runs one of these collectives, I think the major part of it is that everyone that's part of it is adding something to it. It's music, it's, you know, production, it's something. It's everybody is giving so that everybody can benefit from it.
I think this is a very, very good point, because the definition of a group and in a social perspective, the definition of a group and being part of a group, sustainable, is only if everyone in these groups have a position which contributes to the overall community. So bringing something to the table, adding something which the groups makes it a whole is very important. And this refers also back to what you all said in the beginning, that and what is a really good point, Martin, adding something to the scene, you know, not just subtracting. I think this is, I will
prioritize producing, please. Everybody, just prioritize producing.
But yeah, there's enough room. It's really no competition. If everybody's bringing something to the table, then you're not competing with each other. There's enough room for everybody to succeed, as long as you're adding something that is genuine to you.
Okay, saying that, what would you guys think? How important is the branding with all this? Because you just said like the production is the most important, and the people should be producing all the time. How much do you think is the branding? How valuable is that in the end?
Well, I'm not even going to say it's unfortunate. It's the world it is now. And I think that you run two careers as a DJ. You run your career online, and then you run your... And I think the online career also ties into your career as a DJ, and then you run your production career. So there's two sides that you need to be balancing. The side that is making sure that your online presence makes sense, and that you are, you know, playing the right gigs, but also that you are a person that can be looked at and for great productions that are getting good streaming numbers, that are releasing with the right labels and things like that. So you are running two jobs kind of at the same time, and branding really plays into that. So making sure that your music is placed in the right places, that the right people are hearing it, and if that just means that you're self-releasing, that is better. The music is better out than staying unreleased for the whole time because you're waiting for the right label. Get it out. Like, people will find it. You know, maybe spend a bit of money doing a DJ production, DJ promotional service or something like this. But branding is very valuable right now. Like, spending time thinking about it. What is the unique angle that I have on the scene? What is something I can bring? Like, you know, at the end of the day, we've gone from days where everybody had to go to record shops and put up posters of like, I'm a DJ, hand out flyers on the side of the road, hand out their music, all this type of thing, to you have in your hands the tool that can make you, you know, into a full-time artist.
I think what's cool about branding is that you're in control of how you're perceived. Like, your music is subjective, right? Like, anybody can listen to it and have their own interpretation of it. But with the branding, you get to put your own visual or creative, artistic aspect into it, and really let people know how you want to be perceived. And I think people forget that sometimes.
And I think also the great way, or the great thing about branding is you can prepare this also in advance, meaning get to know yourself and who you are as an artist. Because let's dive quickly into the definition of the artistic branding. You know, it's artistic identity, which is basically your distinct with sound, also about multiple genres. It's your visual aesthetics, it's the tone of voice, it is your cultural position, and your community building. So those factors, and there are different, I give you a few examples for where it works well, or worked well, very well. Artistic identity, it's Benny Rodriguez for me, who is not known probably to a lot of people here, but he's the most booked DJ in the Netherlands besides Armin van Buuren. He's a DJ's DJ, so if you ask like Ben Clock, Rothard, or whosoever, they would call, this is my favorite DJ, someone who plays with Chris Dussy back-to-back, but on the next day, main floor Berghain, who has a distinctive sound and is respected by the whole industry. You have from the visual aesthetics, Trick, for example, from Inner Visions, who when you look at his profile from outside, it is a red line. It follows a red line which makes sense in the storytelling and his releases and how he perceives himself. Cultural positioning, Bradley Zero from Strictly Rhythm, is it right? Rhythm Section, thank you very much. Who just won an award at Beatport for his social impact he did, which is a very good example of giving something to the community in electronic music. Tone of voice, we know all Marlon Hofstad and his communication of the daddy of the industry. So just to give you, because I think something to dive into by yourself, these are some points you can write down, go onto these profiles, have a look, and have a thought about it, because this is also very important. It's retro perspective. It's a feedback role and challenging yourself, asking yourself, sitting down and writing these things down. No one has it immediately and knows these things, but without help. But you will find these answers in yourself.
Okay, saying that, what would you say are essential elements of a strong artistic brand? Like, what would you say that's really needed to stick out from the other people?
I think I just said them. These are the points which I just mentioned, actually.
You have anything to add?
I mean, strong artistic brand, not really.
Trying to think. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can do the next one. Yeah, I feel like he answered those questions really well already.
All right. What would you guys say, like, how important is it as soon as you found your brand and you found your crew to bring out everything, that you really, like, get your brand outside? What would you guys say is, like, the key element to get your brand really seen and get your brand outside there? Like, are there, like, some key elements that you guys would say that you really have to do to get your brand out there?
I mean, consistent work on social media is also always just beneficial. I mean, especially with TikTok, every time you post a TikTok, you are sending it out to a completely blank audience almost. Like you get a new turn every single time you post it. So you also have to contextualize who you are and what you're doing in every single TikTok, because you kind of not, it's not working the same way as Instagram, where you kind of have profiles and things like that. It's not as contextualized. So it really trains you to storytell very quickly, to transmit what your brand is to the people in a very short period of time. If you can get really good at that, you're going to kill it.
Yeah, as Martin says, consistency is key, guys. You just need to get the output out there. You need to find your platform where you want to be in touch with your folks, and then you need to start communicating. As soon as you have a consistency in it, and this is also what we need to deal with nowadays, the algorithm picks up on this, and it expands your reach, basically. So one thing, consistency. The next thing is also collaboration. I think collaboration is a key to success, in my belief. And I got this quote from Elijah, a really great guy you should check out. He's doing also lots of panel talks, which is called The Thing, Doing the Thing. It's just about post-its, where he challenged the industry. And he says, which I believe in also as well, if you collaborate with other artists who are like-minded and have the same values like you can touch also their target audience and make, like as Martin said, in the show where you have to play with the same program, maybe get your brand out there to those fans and have a look at your brand. But also it helps to expand your narrative a bit as you combine two different stories, which I think are quite key.
Could you give examples maybe where you collaborated with someone and that benefited you? Or maybe also the other guys?
Yeah, many times I've collaborated with friends who are like-minded to me. And what I find really interesting is, like, the audience really enjoys watching those friendships and relationships and like seeing what comes out of it. That is kind of a part of the branding that you don't even have to try. Like Instagram, TikTok, you do need to be consistent. Don't be afraid to post. Like, nobody cares more than you care about your own stuff. So, like, just get it out there. And then by collaborating, you'll also just get that branding without even having to really try too much, other than I'm hanging out with my friends and we're making music, and here's what we made, here's the story behind it, here's the artwork behind it. But yeah, I think those just go hand in hand.
How important would you say is the storytelling behind this all?
I think it's really important. I think everybody likes to follow a story, and imagine what it's like to be like in that group of friends. Like, it's kind of like they're watching a TV show, except for it's not TV now. We're just on social media, and everyone's just watching everything that we do all the time.
I mean, look at Fish Octagon, right? Like, he told a story about himself being in his living room, digging for music, who used to be, what he was into, and it was a compelling enough story that now he's, booked around the world on major festivals. So you know, that's a very extreme case of it, but you can find a middle ground that feels true to you. It's uncomfortable at the start and you might not feel that it is for you, but if you do it enough and you find a balance, I think you can always find a voice where it's comfortable and it speaks to the right people.
If we say that brand building is equals to world building, every world needs a story and every story needs a hero or an anti-protagonist. So I believe with the story you can catch emotions, you can catch worries, you can catch hope, you can catch ideas. And this is intriguing in every brand, in every storytelling. I mean, there's a great book, I forgot the title of it, which actually compares every brand building to the plot of every successful movie, basically. So you've got the hero, you've got the need of the hero, then the struggles, then there's the breaking point, and then comes the rising sun, which I think also goes hand in hand also with the storytelling of you as a personal brand.
Okay, perfect. So saying you found your brand and you built everything up, how would you find your markets that are suitable for you, and how would you dive into those markets?
I feel like the market kind of like touring, or
Yeah, in general, yes.
I mean, I think you will start to feel when your community is built around you what exactly, like, where you're valued the most originally, and from there it will be most likely where you're based, and then from there, you know, maybe interest from other promoters and you know, looking at your statistics, where your music's been listened to. That can be a great way to kind of work out where to look to start off with.
I mean, there are different approaches to it. One, this is very much true from Martin, that as soon as you grow as a brand, the interest comes and then you see, okay, where your market is. But also, I mean, you release your music on various DSPs. You can see your statistics, who are the most listeners. So there you can see, okay, this is a strong market, but also your statistics from your socials. Don't be afraid of, because this comes also with the industry. It's a data-driven world. So you need to know your numbers, and you need to know who you. If you don't know what's your market and who you are talking to, then you don't know also how to communicate it to them or bring it to them. So it's very important actually from the beginning to understand who is your target audience and what is the market which evolves quickly. Because, for example, David Löhler, a good example, he discovered this, I believe, and also by talking to some of his team, that he has a very strong target group in Latin America. And this is the same with Gordo. They discovered this and they dived into it deeper. So they expanded they dived into like this target group of, okay, Latin America and Latam, this is my market and it works well. So let's do my communication a bit more Spanish. Let's do some Spanish driven sound to it. And it goes off. It goes off. As soon as you tip into your market and you find them, it really pays out big time, I believe.
No, I totally agree. Even just a year ago, like when I was still living in America and Bad Boombox was playing my records, I was so confused because he was playing my songs in like these massive shows, and it was like the reaction from it was really, really positive. But I was at a place where I was feeling a little bit underwhelmed with myself. I was feeling a little bit like, dang, none of my tech house DJ friends want to play my records, and I can't figure out why. And so the second that I came to Berlin, last June, even just for like a month, as like just seeing what's going on out here, so many doors opened up for me, and I really understood like, oh, this is the type of music that I want to be doing. I just need to make it a little bit faster, and suddenly everything makes sense now, and people are actually resonating with it. Labels want to sign my records. Like I'm getting really good gigs out here. But like that wasn't the case for me a year ago in America. And I've been doing this for 10 years, and so I think finding that location or those people or a place where the sound is more prevalent is really, really beneficial. So if that door opens and you're able to take the jump, absolutely do it.
But also allowing to shift as well, I guess, because originally it was America and now it's kind of moved over to Europe. I think another big thing that we had recently is that we've really delved into Eastern Europe for Bad Boombox. His music is, he originally is from there, and we've kind of tapped back into there with the new releases, and we're finding that, okay, the data is saying that there's a lot of fans there, the release matches that, and now from there we can now focus in on how the touring makes sense.
Saying that, is there like maybe a little advice, like if you're at the beginning of your career and maybe you feel like you're stuck in your studio room, how to get to those people? Like maybe you see you've got those numbers in South America, but you're stuck over here like in a little dorf, I would say, and you know that your music is pushing it, but how do you get your music there, and how do you get yourself out? Like for example, you said they started playing your tracks. How did that come back to you getting more gigs, for example?
It just showed me that the type of music that I was most interested in exists in a place that's very far away from me, and I need to just go over there and explore it. And when I did that, it was just proof to me that, like, okay, this is going to be worth it if I take the leap and I just move out here full time and explore this. But I think just having the bravery to do something like that is really what it comes down to. Like, you have to be willing to take that risk, knowing that you don't exactly know what's going to happen. But if the data is proving that, you know, it's working out there, then there's definitely a reason to go.
Is there maybe an advice you can give on how to contact these DJs that maybe played your music, or how to get along with that?
Yeah, that's kind of difficult, because it's not always the easiest to get in contact with DJs, regardless, on any platform. But I think if you're writing music that they like, then they're going to start playing it. And if they're playing your records, they're going to have an idea of who you are. They're going to be more open to speaking with you. Maybe if you go to a show, there's a chance that you could meet them there. The internet, obviously, you could always reach out on the internet and like hope that they see a DM. But I think, I don't know, it really just like making music, making things that other people want to play, and just doing that consistently, like they'll start to recognize your name more and more.
What would you say are the biggest struggles when breaking into new markets as well, or what was it for you when you first came here to Berlin, for example?
I think just trying to figure out where you fit, what you want to bring to the table, making sure that, again, you're not just like chasing something that's popular, because obviously the genre that I'm into now is very, very popular here, so it could appear that like you're chasing something popular, but for me, like, this wasn't popular where I was from. I don't know, it's kind of a trick question. You guys got anything?
I think the biggest struggles I believe in, and this is what I experienced in the past with the artists I worked with, is it's yourself, because things about you care, you worry a lot, and diving into a new market, let's say you come from a different genre, going into a new genre, let's say you were quite successful in your old genre, but in a new genre you are no one. So starting from scratch, the fall is high. So this means you need a new courage, you need new bravery, you need more strength than before, and to find back, like, okay, and be humble about it as well. Because if you've been on the limb and you start again on the bottom, it's a tough road back up. So the challenges, I think, are in yourself, and to really acknowledge them, conquer them, and moving forward are the ones who really succeed. And I mean, it's like a phoenix. The phoenix is flying high, and at some point it's going to ashes, and then it rises again, you know. I know it's a bit symbolic about it, but I think if you manage this as an artist, then you manage everything. Because as we also dived in before, the development of yourself and the progress of it, this is the whole journey, you know. And the journey is in the end leading to something. And if you keep on walking, if you keep on digging, then you find at some point something, I believe and I think.
Yeah, I think you really just need to believe in yourself and know, like, why am I an artist? Is it because I want to get this, I want to meet this goal, or I want to get this level of success? Or is it because I would be making art whether or not there was 50 or like 5,000 people watching what I was doing? Like, for me, I I've been doing this, I've been raving since I was 15. I knew then that I would be doing this forever, no matter what capacity or what part of the industry it would be in. If my whole entire career flopped and I just like sucked at making music tomorrow, I would become an agent. Like, regardless, like I'm going to be in this industry. I'm going to be like, I'm obsessed with this culture. And so, you know, just believe in yourself, know why you do why you want to do the things that you do. Yeah.
I think every one of us, also probably in this row here, we all had different things where we tapped into. You were a promoter, then you were an artist. I don't know your backstory so much, but you had also different spots in your life.
He knows how to DJ, low-key.
I never tried to become an artist or a DJ, but yeah.
And for me the same. I also tried and failed, and I stood up again, and I tried again, and I failed, and I tried again. But this is also very important, not a failure. There are two choices and paths which you go. You go out of the one road from which you learn, and the one road where you succeed. So keep it always positive about it, yeah?
I mean, Hot Meal started from trying to find a way into the scene. Both Bad Boombox and I are not originally from Europe. Well, we did, yeah, kind of. And basically we were trying to find a way to get into the scene, get gigs, you know, get the music out there without, you know, having to know everybody from just day one. So it took a lot of just like pushing and pushing and pushing. And at the end of the day, the thing that you can count on is yourself and focusing on what you can control. And that's why, you know, we started Hot Meal, was we could control that. We could try and find the gigs ourselves, that we could release our own music, that we could run our own agency, we could run our own events. We just took the power back into our own hands and just moved forwards from there. But it took years of just getting punched into the ground. So, yeah. Yeah,
don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of putting yourself out there. Don't be afraid of asking for things. Don't be afraid of like feeling like you're being annoying by sending your music to people. Like it's really like, it's because you believe in yourself. Like you have to do those things.
Okay, nice. So from what you just said, what's the biggest mistake you see emerging artists make when building their careers? I mean, I think it's pretty much what you already said, but maybe is there something else that you're watching at the moment?
Like, yeah.
Getting angry at the scene, like getting mad, like just feeling like really feeling disenfranchised too quickly. Like, okay, something isn't gaining traction. The way forwards isn't to just feel like very polarized and just angrier than expressing that. You know, it's about trying something new, moving forwards, just keeping on trying. And also spending too much time trying to find, like, you see it often that someone's like, if I just find that agent, if I just find that manager, I'm going to be famous. And it's just such a lie. You're wasting your time. Like, focus on you. Focus on why you're interesting, what you're bringing. Because I guarantee you, as soon as your music is ready, as soon as your artist profile is ready, you'll have 1 million people knocking at your door. I promise you, 110%. Yeah. People are always looking.
I can guarantee that as well. If your music is the shit, everyone will be there. Because everyone, I mean, this is the other side. Every one of us, we have the scene on our radar the whole time. We are looking for what is the next shit, you know. We have these numbers, we see them. So as soon as you pop off, people will knock on your door. But what I'm also 100% agreeing, being angry at the scene, I hate those conversations, to be very honest, of people who are pointing at others. And for me, losers point at others, winners, they look forward, you know. Because if you are winning and you know you are a winner, then you are concentrating just on the road forward in front of you. But if you have the time to complain about others, man, then you are really missing the point here. Can you repeat your question again so I can dive into this as well?
What are the biggest mistakes emerging artists can make?
Yeah. One of the biggest mistakes is to be impatient, I think, because success doesn't come overnight. Although nowadays some artists grow instantly. I tell you, 10 years ago, this was not the case. Artists took 15 years, 8 years. They took a long time till they really blew off. It is not common to blow off in a year. This is something out of 1 million. And please don't get this wrong perception of this industry that this is the way to go. It's not the way to go.
Just to jump in there, I think that a lot of the artists that are blowing up, they've had multiple other artist profiles before that. They've been creating music for 10 years. They've tried multiple things, and then this one worked.
Something a little bit different than what these guys are saying. I think that's something that people make in the beginning of a mistake that they make in the beginning of their career is they pay too much attention on numbers and on like passive listeners, on passive fans. When I think what's most important is getting those active fans, those super fans that you were talking about earlier. It's really, really surprising how little super fans you need to sustain a career. Like, you don't need to constantly be like trying to get the biggest hits or trying to get the biggest numbers on TikTok or trying to go millions of plays, or even like if you're constantly opening for someone that's big and you're playing like these massive arenas, but you're always the opener, you'll realize later on in your career that like those thousands of people that you're playing for, most of them didn't convert because they're not there for you. They're there for the other person. So you need to build your own audience of people that are there for you instead of just touring in cycles, playing for thousands of people that are just passive and aren't going to actually follow you for the rest of your career.
I think this is a very good point what Amber says. To give you a bit of a perspective about a superfan, I encourage you to look into this, what a superfan is. This year, majors spend millions or invest millions into getting the superfans closer to their labels and imprints which they are building up. So the superfan is actually the one you want to talk to and want to generate.
Okay, cool. Then last question. How do you see the music industry evolving in the next 5 years, and what should artists prepare for? What would you guys say?
Sorry, I didn't understand you. But I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question very well. Can you do it a bit slower?
Yes. How do you see the music industry evolving in the next 5 years, and what should artists prepare for? What advice can you give?
The cycles are going to become quicker of trends, I would say. Musical trends will go way quicker than they are going at the moment. They're already going way faster than they were going 10 years ago. So we'll definitely see that what's popular last year won't be popular this year. Artist cycles, who was headlining last year, they won't be headlining the next year. I think that the artists that do stay on top, they will be the ones with the super fans, the ones that have a fan base that will work with them through their artist development, whether that means music moving genres quicker and quicker, but it's the people that are just there no matter what. And I think that focusing on developing that is going to be the most important thing, because it's with TikTok, with social media, we're seeing turnover like we've never seen before.
Yeah, I agree. What comes down in the next 5 to 10 years is the community building, actually. Because also with AI coming now right into the middle of the society, all the content which we see on social media will be at some point flooded with artificial intelligence generated content, which feeds the algorithm more, and the algorithm picks up on this, so it goes further and further. And those creators, now talking about an artist as a creator, are the ones who have this community which sticks with you. So this comes really down to that.
Maybe as one last question, what could you give as an advice how to deal with all these things if you don't have a big team around you?
Before we go into that, I would love to hear Amber's perspective on it as an artist.
No, I think you're absolutely right about the trend cycles. I was thinking about that earlier today or this morning when I was going through these questions in my head, and I was like, you really do have to just be patient and do what you genuinely like to do versus trying to, again, like chasing things, because they're going to go faster and faster. The headliners, who's headlining today is not going to be the same genre as who's headlining 5 years from now. And if you just stick to what you like and stay focused, stay authentic, eventually that style will be the headlining time slot. And it's okay, you don't always have to be the headliner. Like certain years, you're going to be the opener because it's that style of music's not as popular then.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think it's more about when you're surfing, about preparing yourself for the wave instead of thrashing about trying to catch every single wave that goes past you. Sit down, prepare, think about what's unique to you, think about how you can bring your unique voice into music and give to the scene. Try not to take. For your first years, you should just be giving, whether it's interesting content, whether it's productions, I can't say this enough. focusing on producing, focusing on the nightclubs will be silent if it wasn't for producers. So we need people to be making music. So focusing on that, focusing on giving to the scene. You know, people will play your music, the big ass will play your music if you just focus on that and make, you know, really just bring it back to yourself.
And with the AI thing too, which is very interesting, I have kind of a funny perspective. I don't think you should be afraid of AI. I think AI is just another tool, like how the CDJ was a tool before we had turntables. You know, it's a little bit scary at first. It changes the groundwork on how we know everything to exist. And that's just going to keep it's going to keep changing quicker and quicker. So embrace the technology. Try to learn how to use it to your advantage. Don't use it the same way as everybody else. Don't use it to make all of your music.
Yeah.
Try to be original, but learn the technology.
I totally agree with Amber, and this is like a very controversial discussion in music industry. I believe AI is here to stay, and it's like the invention of fire, the invention of the wheel. This is now AI. It's a tool which we need to know how to use without losing your identity and authenticity. Just bring this tool into your workflow and see how you can make it work, without losing who you are and what your sound is. But maybe you can enhance it a bit, So I believe as well, artificial intelligence is a tool which can be very useful.
Okay, nice. I think that was a perfect closing word because we have to finish now. Are there any questions from the audience?
Hi, thank you. I have a question regarding the super fans. When you were saying that I'm surprised that a little amount of super fans will actually drive you much further. In percentage, let's say, considering your following, let's say you have 100,000 followers, what percentage of super fans would drive your career, and where would you find them? Thank you.
Yeah, to give you some insight, for me, during COVID, when there's no touring, all of my income was gone, basically, because all of my income came from touring at that point. And what I was able to like get all of my super fans kind of to go on Twitch every Friday, watch me DJ, open a Patreon that lets them, send money. I would do, I would give away like different sample packs or like production things or whatever. But the number of people that required to sustain my livelihood living in Los Angeles, which is a very expensive city, I would say on average between like 30 to 50 fans. That's all it took.
Yeah, to give you a percentage, like a super fan is around about, or the percentage of your whole listeners, a super fan is around 3 to maximum 9 or 10%. 10% is insane already. So it's a very tiny bit. And you want to increase that as much as possible.
Yeah, but those are the people that are engaging the most, that are like buying all of your merch, coming to all of your shows, getting all of your VIP packages. Like those are the people that are really like, they'll get whatever, they're down for whatever.
Okay, perfect. I think that's it then. Or one more question? One last one, because we have to close down.
Hello. So, first of all, thank you very much for this panel. It was really, really interesting. My name is Michele Modio. I'm the founder of Culture Club at ESMT Berlin. I actually had a couple of considerations, and the first question that I want to ask is, how do you tap into markets where, for example, there is a language barrier, or, for example, where social media are kind of not coinciding? For example, if you take China, I think it's a very big market. Like, of course, we're talking about the most populous country in the world, or if it's not the first, it's the second. However, there is a clear language barrier with this market, and there is also like an unmatched between, for example, social media or access to certain resources. How do you face these things? So that's my first question. Then, very quickly, second question: how do you balance? This is more for actually, it's for MIJA. How do you balance authenticity and being like audience focused? Because the two things are very, very important. Like, you gotta be authentic, but at the same time, you gotta be user focused. So you do your art looking at the at the users, at the audience, but at the same time you gotta really be yourself. So how do you balance this thing? And yeah.
So for your first questions, let's break it down. Yeah, we've got a language barrier, we got different platforms of communication. So in terms of China, China is a very special case. So me and for my artists, also in the past, for China, especially, China is different than Asia. I work with certain agencies which, for you, build up a profile on new social media platforms, because everything works there with WeChat. WeChat is basically like the big kraken over everything, which is Tencent. Tencent is the big company behind it. And in this market, you need to, the platform, how you can talk to your audience, which is WeChat. So there, this agency builds up your profile in their language, and you just feed them with content. So to break it all down, to talk to your market, you need to know the platform they are happening, where you can communicate with them, and you need to speak their language. If you don't speak their language, they can't understand you. So I think this is kind of a template you can use. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to quickly answer your last question, I think that your audience is usually a reflection on who you are as an artist. Therefore, if you just keep showing up authentically, that will resonate with the fans that actually do matter and will be with you for most of your life. So I wouldn't worry about trying to like figure out what they want versus what you want. Like it'll be a reflection of yourself.
Yeah, I would say thanks a lot for your insights, and yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Round of applause.